Guys, it's insane that in 2023, you don't have a skincare routine. Like for real, you're gonna age horribly. If your skin feels like the desert, but you want it to feel like the ocean, then here are the basics you need to know. And keep in mind, we know what the beauty industry is actually after. So here's what really helps. First things first, there are different skin types you have to know to make sure you do things properly. The first and most common is typically combination skin. This would be a mix between dry and oily skin depending on the area. For this skin type, you would normally have the shape of a T from your forehead area down to your nose, which would be more oily than the rest of your face, and the surrounding areas would be more dry. The second is an oily skin type, which is generally just oily all over your face. This one tends to be more prone to acne. The third is dry, which makes your skin feel like sandpaper sometimes. This is my skin type, which tends to be less prone to acne, but can show signs of aging and wrinkles and fine lines more easily than others. And lastly, there's a normal skin type, which is pretty much just the middle ground between too oily and then too dry. Knowing which one you are helps you choose what products that are going to be the best for your skin type. Just make sure to research what works for you in particular and check what the professionals recommend. So with that out of the way, I look terrible, so let's go take a shower really quick and we'll get into the skincare. You don't have to shower first, but I prefer to do my skincare right after my shower because most people tend to shower in pretty hot water, which can really dry out your skin. So with that in mind, I like to take a washcloth in the shower to exfoliate my face and remove all the dead skin, etc. that can build up throughout the day. I do this right before I get out, which leads us to the second exfoliating part. Now, most of you are probably washing your face, but you should really start using a cleanser to help with that. It's just a little extra help in making sure you get everything out of your pores before you start applying all your other products. I use this one by CeraVe. You really only need enough to cover your face, so don't really cake it on or anything like that. You can also get an exfoliating brush. I got this one for like 20 bucks or something from Walmart. So you apply the gel or cream and then use the brush to exfoliate around your face. Remember, if you get anything too strong, try not to overdo it because you can actually over exfoliate and end up hurting your skin more, and you'll end up with more skin problems that way. Now that we're done with that, here's an important side note. I know a lot of you are concerned about how long a skincare routine is going to actually take, but what you need to know is it doesn't really matter how long it is. You can have a 3-step, a 5-step, a 7-step, a million-step routine. It really just depends on what you want to achieve with it. But once you're used to having a routine, it really shouldn't take longer than like 5 minutes to do. If it does, you might just be doing too much. I think people have this idea of skincare being like a whole event, but in reality, most people really just couple it with taking a shower and tidying up in like a self-care kind of day, when in reality, it doesn't really need to take that long. The skincare itself is only like 5 minutes. Anyways, back to the basics. Once you've exfoliated, this is where people will differ in their routines. Mine in particular is a 5-step routine. However, most 3-step routines will also have the second step as a toner as well. I use this one by Fresh. Think of this step kind of like the last stage of cleansing. Toner will remove the last stuff stuck in your pores and is mainly used for keeping the elasticity of your skin so it stays tighter and avoids signs of aging. Most of them will want you to use like a cotton ball or something to apply it so you don't use too much, but I find it's extra time consuming and difficult that way, and I can never really get it to work as well for a dry skin type, so I prefer to just put a little bit on my hands and apply it like I would normally do for anything else. Now you can let it sit for 30 seconds to a minute and then apply the rest of the products. For me, the next step is a serum, but if you just want a simple routine, your next step would be to moisturize, so skip ahead to that chapter if that's what you're planning on doing. For serums, I use this one by Selfmade. Serums can do a lot of different things depending on which one you use, so I'd recommend doing your own research on that because I'm definitely not a dermatologist and don't know all the science behind that stuff. But because my skin is super dry naturally, I use this one that helps with keeping my skin hydrated. I typically use a little bit more than they recommend here because it is a big factor in how my skin looks, and I try to apply it evenly everywhere so that my skin can absorb it properly. Now, right before we get to moisturizing, I just use 2 little drips of an oil on my cheek area to add a little bit of shine and natural look. Through trial and error, I've realized not to use it around my nose or eye area because it can make me break out more in those areas. However, that just applies to me. Everyone will have a different result. I use this one by Drunk Elephant, but it seems a little expensive for how I use it, so I just got a little one. Now here's the most important step for every routine, in my opinion. If you have dry skin and you don't moisturize with a good product, you'll probably just feel dry again after like 2 hours, so make sure you choose a good one. I use this one by CeraVe, which is widely accepted as one of the best best in the industry, I make sure to let the other products settle into my skin for a minute or two before I apply my moisturizer because it is pretty thick. Now in the beginning, this would actually work, but for some reason it doesn't anymore, so I have to scoop it out instead. I don't know exactly what you would call this, but this is how much I typically use. I try to apply this pretty evenly across my skin, but I'd also advise not putting this on your eyelids. That was a rough learning curve for me. It burns. You don't have to rub it in too much, but I prefer for it to look natural, so I try to make it blend as much as I can. But also feel free to apply it a little bit to the hairline. I've seen a few articles say this can help prevent hair loss, so might as well. And then I'll take the washcloth from earlier and remove any excess that likes to build up on my eyebrows for some reason. You can also use that to remove little amounts that won't blend if you want. So that is the full 5-step skincare routine that I use. If you were interested in a 3-step skincare routine, that would be only exfoliate, toner, and moisturize. Personally, I don't believe in doing more than 5 steps. I think you probably fall victim to the beauty industry cash grab at that point. I know I just threw a whole bunch of information at you, but the key takeaway is this. Know your skin type, choose your routine, 3-step, 5-step, etc. Pick your products based on your skin type, and then apply them similar to how I did in this video. If you do everything right, you can easily go from looking like this to looking like this and start looking like you're adequately taking care of your skin. Trust me, people will notice the difference almost right away. And hopefully you won't get the "are you sick" comments anymore. So I hope you learned something in this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I cover a whole range of different topics here, and I'm looking into doing some more entertaining style videos in the near future. So see you next week.